Love, and today we're going to talk about discover your true soul purpose. And this is kind of quite charged topic, right? Because it's not like I'm going to sit here and tell you what your purpose is. You will find your purpose, whatever that might be for you. What I want to talk about is different ways of looking at purpose from my professional and personal experience, and also why purpose is so important to us as we go about our daily lives, right? So I work as a somatic stress and tension release trainer. I teach Cherry provided trainers, and I've done a lot of body work for many years. I've done a lot of coaching for many years. I've done a lot of different types of martial arts. And the one thing that I really notice when it comes to people having success, reaching whatever they set their intentions or goals to be, or feeling happy, feeling fulfilled, vitality, having well being, waking up in the morning and having a drive to do things, right? I don't just want to stay in bed and snooze. I actually want to go get up and get things going, or, going to bed at night feeling like, wow, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and, I want to feel I'm excited, I'm going to do something tomorrow. That is what that purpose will do. It will propel you forward. It will help you to move through all of those sometimes icky, sticky moments in your life. It will be something that drives you, not just that I have to drive myself and, oh, this is so heavy and I have to push even further. Now, the purpose will help you to move forward. It's like wind in the sails if you're a sailor, right? It will really propel whatever you're doing in a way that allows you to move forward with a lot less effort. So when I look at purpose, purpose is really about having a direction. It doesn't have to be super defined as this is exactly what I want. And if I don't get this, then it's a failure. No, purpose is really about just being very clear on where you're going, but not being attached, right, to the outcome, how you get there. You get a very clear blueprint for how something looks like, and then doing your practice, whatever your practice is, to move towards this true soul purpose. So a practice could be that you go to bed on time, that you wake up in a certain time, that you have a specific mindset, that you have daily routines that helps you to stay in a direction, moving towards your purpose, moving in alignment with that purpose. And really, when I talk about purpose, there is two main purposes that I would say from my experience and guided a lot of clients now. And the first purpose is usually from past experiences, right? It could be adverse, it can be positive, it can be traumatic. So when I look at purpose, it's usually something that we didn't have, or that we felt was missing for us or for other people, or that we want to give other people based on what has happened to us early in life. And that becomes a very strong drive and motivational force. And I just want to do this, and I didn't have it, and I'm going to give everyone this that I didn't have, because I don't want anyone to ever go through what I went through. And that's a very strong force. It's usually fueled by a lot of traumatic energy that hasn't been discharged, which means it might be coming from a source that is not really fulfilling us. And that's why we can crash and burn when we do things like this, because we might just be pushing too hard from a source that is not really pulling us forward. It's like a survival energy that's looking for its way out. And we just happen to find a nice coping strategy, which is nice to help others, but it's not really letting the energy out. It's just allowing us to work with the energy as it comes up. But that cycle, it's recreating itself over and over again. And when I really start to look at the second purpose, which admittedly I'm still entering, I'm not fully in there yet. It's a different kind of purpose. It's something that really comes through you. Doesn't really come from the head. Doesn't come from this is what I want to do. There's more messages coming to you. There's more sensation coming to you. Empty your mind and open your heart, and then you start to talk. And sometimes you can be surprised about the words that comes out, because you're not really thinking about them. They're coming through you. And that's where I really feel when I talk about soul purpose, when you start to enter all that negative self-talk and all that belief system and the conditioning that you got from the outside world, and you really start to talk from an essence within, right? Before the world got to us, before, I'm a man, I'm this skin color, I'm this religion, I'm supposed to do this culture, I'm this much money, this family has this name, and all of these things, right? All of these different roles and titles that society's put on us, right? So the sole purpose is really to go through all of that, right? It comes from under all of these layers of personalities and disguises, masks that aren't really us, right? And when you really connect to that sole purpose, it will come from within and pull you out. And that's a very interesting journey, because that means you might start doing things in a very different way. You start mind going against a lot of things that you've been led to believe or that you build yourself up to believe in. And that's when I really believe a spiritual awakening or a path of discovering who you are. That doesn't have to be esoteric, can be, but just like what's real for me, what's important for me, what is it that I want to do. When you start to work from that essence and feel that essence, you're moving forward in everyday activities, interactions, relationships with much more ease, with much more clarity. Is this aligned with where I'm going or not? No, then I don't do it. And that will make you feel a lot more connected to yourself. I won't need to go around and ask everyone else for their opinion and validation. And should I do this? Is this a good idea? No, I'm connecting to myself, and I have the agency, I have the power, the insight to go from within and looking at my purpose, looking at my own connection to myself. And I start to develop that sense of connecting to, is this aligned with where I'm going or is it not? If it's not aligned with where I'm going, then it's not something that I'm going to do. And life becomes much more clearer from that path, because you don't have to outsource all of your inquiries. You don't have to verify it from the outside all the time of how do I know if this is true? How do I know if this is good for me? What should I do? Because there's so many things you can do, right? I can be good at this, I can be good at that. I have fear of missing out, or I should do this. And everyone has opinions about what you should do or shouldn't do in life. Once you start to connect to this essence, you will feel what your purpose is. And if you're moving towards that purpose or away from it, so you won't have to go out and ask everyone else around you about what to do and how to go about your everyday life. It will come from within. And a great part of starting this journey for me was really through the TRE Provider Training Program that I'm now a teacher of. I was a student first, became a provider, a practitioner, and now became a trainer to teach this training to other people. And it's really interesting because it's a very profound journey to connecting to your own nervous system and going beyond what you're led to believe. It's not dogmatic, it's not religious. It's really about really connecting to yourself from a nervous system point of view perspective and looking at things quite impersonal and seeing it as systematic responses and what happened once I start to become aware of them and slow them down and regulate them. Then all of this traumatic energy that I said there was a purpose, it doesn't become equally important. It starts to release instead, right? It starts to leave your body. And as that happened to me, I kind of felt like a dog chasing after a car. They bark and chase after a car, and the car stops and the dog goes, what do I do now? Because it was so much trauma energy going into wanting to do certain things to help people, which I still want to do, but from another source, from a very different source and from a more balanced source within me. And that just gave me so much more peace, sense of clarity. I'm not carrying people. I'm not taking on other people's challenges or adversities that they come in with, but I'm still fully compassionate and open and can help them to find their way of doing the same and give them practical tools to realize what's really going on in their body and their nervous system so they can feel better, right? Can work away from procrastination, self-sabotage, people pleasing, negative mindsets, pains that doesn't go away, or like repetitive patterns, interactions with other people that never seems to end, as my breathwork teacher said, have the same relationship but with a different face, right? Because that's cyclical. I haven't cleared something out of my nervous system, so I will go and create the same scenarios wherever I go. And TRE really helped me with that, to clear a lot of that energy out, but also the awareness to realize this is what's really going on for me. And that gave me a bigger, deeper sense of purpose, connecting me to myself, right? And the breath work has helped a lot too. The conscious connected breath work, to really be connected to myself and feel that essence of, how do I actually start to let this go? How do I start to let it out of my body for briefing, which I can do anywhere. I don't need any tools. I don't, few sessions and you're good to go on your own. And similar with TRE, you do a few sessions with a practitioner, a provider, and then you're good to practice it on your own. So that's really how we started building our coaching program. Okay, we need to work with the nervous system, right? To clear out a lot of this energy, because it's blocking people from actually accessing their true purpose, their soul purpose, and they're driven by a lot of agendas and belief systems from the past usually, right? How do we get them to realize that? Not that I'm going to say to anyone, this is not what you should be doing, but how do I clear that energy out so I come to the inside on my own? And how do we do a coaching, a mentorship process to guide someone to that knowledge, having those tools so they're able to do this for their own continuously for the rest of their life? And that's how we build our mentorship program that have launched now a couple of months back, where we work with exactly these aspects. We work with breathwork, we work with TRE, we work with educational pieces to give people information about the nervous system, about how trauma responds and reenacts in our body, how we can empower ourselves, how we can really bring that awareness back so we can start to have profound changes in our life and realign with a soul purpose. And also have one-on-one sessions as embedded in this program to really connect deeper, right? Because sometimes we cannot see the patterns for ourselves. Sometimes we need help mirroring our patterns to be able to see, am I actually moving towards my purpose that's giving me fulfillment, joy, all this well-being, longevity, and if the days feel happy to go about, or am I moving towards another direction where it's just survival based and I'm doing the same thing, and I look back at my life and I've been doing the same thing over and over again, but I didn't really want to do it, but I didn't have any other choice. So that's really what we were working on in the mentorship program. And if that's interesting for you, then feel free to write me a DM, and I'll be more than happy to set up a discovery call where we can discuss and see if we're a good fit for each other, if our approach suits you, if this is a good time for you to start doing this. But I can personally say the best investment I ever made for myself has been to invest in my own health, mentally, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, physically, and working with coaches, working with people that have experience, that are a little bit further in their practice than I am. That kind of just helps us to come out of where we're at. And I really feel that's an investment to have long-term quality of life and adding value to a life, right? And it might not be that hard sometimes. It might just be that I don't really see what it is that's happening for me that might be creating a lot of chaos. And I believe finding a purpose is a very big one of those, because if you don't really know where you're going, anywhere, any road will lead you there. You won't really know if you're astray or not. But if you're very clear on where you're going, how that feels, does that feel in my body? What kind of thoughts does that give me? What's the energy that's being created around me as I'm in my purpose? Then everything becomes much more clear, and your choices become much more clear as well. And that's a beautiful place to live from. So thank you very much for listening in today, and I'll see you next week again.